Hello everyone, my name is not Jingles, but I am doing an emergency video because for some reason, which I cannot really fathom or understand, YouTube is having trouble processing 1 hour and 40 minutes of Clan Wars footage. And I want to keep up with my schedule of uploading a video every Thursday, so have an IS4 game played by Alec. Now just because I'm uploading this video today doesn't mean you're not getting the Clan Wars video this week. I will release that as soon as I can. It may be hopefully be tomorrow, maybe today in the evening. I just want to have a video on Thursday. And so yeah, I will release it as soon as YouTube has stopped having all sorts of nervous breakdowns and trying to process that video. Nothing I can do about it, this is all in YouTube's hands, and I hope that this video actually renders and processes in time to release today. Otherwise, I am flubbernucked. So like I said, in the meantime, enjoy Alec playing in his IS-4. Now what is the IS-4? The IS-4 is a tier 10 Russian heavy tank. The lesser known of the two, because the IS-7 is more well known because of the IS-3, the KV-1S, what it used to be, which is now a sort of nerfed version, which is now the KV-85, which is still a pretty good tank in good hands. And then the IS-7 is also more well known because it's used in Clan Wars and Strongholds more than the IS-4. You can rely more on an IS-7. If you can get it hull down, it's impenetrable. If you can get an IS-4 hull down, they can still pen its roof, which is the same weak spot as on the IS-3. But then there's the advantage of being an IS-4. It's not as well known as the IS-7. People don't know its weak spot as good as on the IS-7. So if people face an IS-4, and this includes me, they don't know where to pen it. And I've had many times where I just scream on TeamSpeak, I cannot pen this IS-4! And then Alec is somewhere giggling in the background knowing he has one. And Alec keeps telling me if it's angled, shoot it in its side, because that's about 250mm of armor, which is still a lot. If you have it front on, aim for the driver's hatch, which is still 240mm of armor, or the lower plate, which is still 200mm, but don't hit the tracks on the lower plate, because that adds 20mm of armor, because Russian tanks are biased. Wait, I can't say that, I'll get kidnapped by Serb. If you have its flat side, just aim above the tracks in the hull, because the IS-4 doesn't actually have spaced armor, it's just hull armor. You know, the tracks are still 20mm of spaced, so basically the IS-4 is really well armored, and with its angles, it is a really well armored tank to meet on the battlefield. And if you don't face it head on, or have a high caliber tank gun, you are screwed. You need to have its back, or the IS-4 just needs to make massive mistakes, because its side of the turret is still 200mm of armor. I need to get myself one of these IS-4s so I can finally figure out where to pen it, because people then pen me. So there, that's the thing. Also, here's a fun fact about the IS-4 that probably not every one of you know, but quite a lot probably do. The IS-4 used to be a tier 9 heavy tank. This was before the SD-1 was introduced. And it was scary to face an IS-4 on the battlefield in your tier 6s. Because yes, +3, -3 matchmaking was still a thing back then. So I sat there in my VK 3001p grinding towards the mouse because I had high ambitions of having it. And then I saw one of these lumbering beasts on the battlefield, and I would just sort of give up and think, why am I still playing this game if I can meet that in my stock VK 3001p? But that was almost 4 years ago. Yes, time flies fast if you're having fun, I say, playing World of Tanks. World of Tanks isn't fun, it's a painful grind every single day again. But then at the end of that painful grind, you'll get a new tank, and then you can have fun playing the tank stock. And then when you have it finally fully unlocked, you enjoy it for about 10 to 20 games, and then the grind towards the next tank starts. So, game design. Hey, it's all a grind eventually nowadays. Or microtransactions. Grinds or microtransactions. It's your pick. So then, what is happening in-game? Well, Alec has been quite aggressive on this flank because he had to, while the enemy team have just sort of taken over the rest of the whole map, because reasons. Apparently a T-34 and an LTTP drowned themselves in the middle water. I don't know how you do that, because this isn't Durpenburg, but hey, they tried and succeeded. So at this point, Alec's team is down 4 tanks, and the last thing you want is for those 4 tanks to actually push in all together and kill the rest of your team. So you know what Alec does is he starts up a defense with hopefully the rest of his remaining teammates, and stays in arty cover, because at this point you don't want arty raining down death upon you when you're trying to valiantly defend your game and base and the rest of your life. So now the Conqueror is dead. who is the next contender to try and beat these four? Oh, it's a Carnarvon in the background and an AMX 1357 behind them. And a Waffenträger in the middle. Well, they're slowly being surrounded. What can Alec do at this point? Well, quite a lot of things. He can try and push out the AMX 1357 and still be in arty cover. Or he can try and spot as many tanks going into his base while staying hulled down. That Carnarvon doesn't really pose a threat for Alec or the E100, so he just sort of ignores him. And the E100 is, well, putting in some good shots in the T-34. The Waffenträger bounces off Alec because the Waffenträger doesn't really know where to shoot Alec as well. Tries to hit his turret roof, but he was aiming up at it, so I don't know what he was trying to do. So then a raid boss appears behind him. It's the Jagero. Oh boy, you don't want a Jagero behind you at all. 1050 damage alpha suddenly gone from your health? Ooh, that's not something you want. And speaking of Jagerus, that is my most recent tier 10 tank and I quite enjoy it actually. It's a whole lot of fun to just click and 1000 damage sort of disappears from an enemy tank. But it is a troll gun. You have 299mm of penetration and somehow you can still bounce off bad chats because reasons. It's like throwing a 10kg rock at a piece of aluminum foil. You throw at it and the rock just sort of bounces off and the aluminum foil is like, nope. You're there looking at the aluminum foil, or aluminium, I don't know how to pronounce it, and you're just looking as if the physics just broke. And while you're standing there drooling, trying to figure out what the hell just happened, the bad chat is sort of running away rampantly, trying to figure out what the hell happened to him as well. But there is a downside to the Jagero. It is a big, fat, floppy target which is slow to maneuver, and its gun is really the only thing you should be scared about. And Alec knows that the Jagero has quite a long reload, so goes in, slams a shell in his lower plate, and then the Jagero tries to compensate by firing heat. 420mm of pure, unadulterated, fat, scary, sizzling nope. But Alec took that heat shell like a man, right from the side, and knows he has to reload on the Jagero now. And the Jagero tries to close the distance and face hug him, but Alec is having none of that and keeps his distance. And a new contender appears, the AMX 1357 Grand Finals tank, which was last year's ESL tank that Wargaming was like, here, have a tank, it's pretty. But, you know, that 57 thought he was unspotted or was hoping that Alec was tunnel visioning. Alec just slams a shell in him like it's nothing, killing him as well. Now Alec has been quite lucky at this point. Artillery hasn't really been focusing him, because RT is still in the game, and there's two tanks left, the E100 and Alec, and no shells have been landing near Alec at all. So, good on you Alec, you lucky bastard. So right now it's 2 versus 3. They've got a Carnarvon and Cap, a CDC who hasn't been spotted since a long time, and an artillery who hasn't been firing as far as I can tell. And the E100 just sort of nopes the Carnarvon away. I don't know how he killed him, maybe high explosive, maybe a bit lucky with heat, or just AP. It's a tier 8 heavy tank after all. And speaking of the Carnarvon, I should really start grinding that line. I finished the grind on the Matilda, which wasn't really a grind because the Matilda is an overpowered piece of blah. But I have to buy the Churchill 1, and I'm not really looking forward to playing the Churchill 1, the Churchill 7, and the Black Prince and the Carnarvon stock. So, yeah, free XP all the way to the Carnarvon, eh? Yeah? No? Someone? Yeah, maybe. But I'm going to need my free experience for something else. I'm going to unlock the Bat Chat soon. And I'm going to need a whole lot of credits because I need to buy the TVP T5051, the STB 1, the Bat Chat, probably the T62A, the Churchill 1, the SU1 or the M1 as well. So, yo, I need credits. And while I'm thinking of what I need to buy in the future, this AMX CDC just sort of disconnected, or he had to go away for a phone call, or his wife is having a baby. I don't know, I don't care. The problem is, Alec is in the open trying to kill this CDC. And he has to kill this CDC because he will spot Alec at every single way he's going. So, Alec has, well, he's killed the CDC by now, but he's still like open for artillery. But RT hasn't really been firing the last couple of minutes as far as I can tell. So I'm wondering, what is artillery doing? Maybe he's trying to relocate? Maybe? Yes, no, perhaps? I don't know and I will never know, but I am not really wanting to see Alec drive for a minute and a half just towards Cap. So I'm going to speed this up at 300 times speed. 300 times 300%, which is 3 times speed. 300 times speed would be just like 3 seconds of and then we're there. Also, don't judge me this video, but I just woke up to see that my video wasn't done processing yet and I panicked and I was like, let's make a video! So, yeah, that's why my voice is a bit I have my reasons. Shut up. I'm gonna eat a croissant now, bye bye.